I've been training naturally for over 25 years, and I wasted a good chunk of that time on things that didn't really matter. What I know now would have saved me years of wasted time and effort, and I don't want you to have to learn the hard way like I did. These are the 4 lessons that I learned the hard way, and if you actually apply them, they'll save you years of wasted effort and lackluster results in the gym. The first lesson is to start thinking long term. Consistency matters more than anything else in this equation. I'll take the person who trains 3 or 4 days a week and never misses over the person who goes all in for a year and then falls off hard every single time. It sounds obvious, but the reason most people don't make progress isn't that they're not working hard enough when they show up. It's that they just don't show up consistently enough. It doesn't matter if you're following the best program. It doesn't matter if you're training like an absolute maniac and taking each set to failure. And it doesn't matter if your diet is on point if you can't sustain it over the long term. The gym doesn't need to consume your life, but it does need to fit into it. Motivation gets you started, but it always fades. What keeps you going is building training into a habit, so it becomes something you just automatically do and not even think about. Your results in the gym compound over years in a way that short bursts of intensity never will. That's just how this works. The second lesson is probably the most important one. This one took me the longest to figure out, and it's the one I care about the most. For almost a decade of my life, I struggled with serious health issues without knowing what it was. And no matter what I did in the gym during that time, my body just didn't respond the way I wanted it to. It didn't matter how hard I trained, my body just wouldn't grow. And this doesn't just apply to extreme examples like myself. When your health is off, everything in the gym becomes harder than it needs to be. Your sleep suffers, your energy and motivation drop, your hormones get all out of whack, and your recovery is almost non-existent. Your body just doesn't have what it needs to do the work and properly recover from it. Somewhere along the lines, fitness and health got separated in this industry. People train hard and pay almost no attention to how they're fueling their bodies and looking after themselves outside of the gym. That's a huge mistake. Focusing on your health doesn't have to be complicated. It starts with paying attention to what you're putting into your body. Avoid ultra-processed foods, excessive sugar, and artificial fake foods. Focus on whole foods as much as possible. You don't need to overcomplicate things or follow a specific diet. Just be conscious about your food choices. When your health is in order, training gets significantly easier. And that includes actually wanting to show up consistently to train hard. That connection is what most people are missing when they can't figure out why they're not progressing. The third lesson is that consistency alone isn't enough. Showing up consistently is one thing, but showing up with a clear plan and pushing yourself hard enough to actually force a change, that's another thing altogether. I see this all the time. People who have consistency dialed in, but they still look the same year after year. And in almost every case, it comes down to the same 2 things. The first is not pushing hard enough to actually force an adaptation. Your body needs a real reason to change. And if you're not progressively increasing your lifts over time, it has no reason to. The second is not having a clear direction. Not really bulking, not really cutting, just floating somewhere in the middle. And when you sit in the middle, you can't make progress in either direction. You need to pick a direction, commit to it, and give it enough time to actually work. Track your lifts, your weight, your intake, not obsessively, just enough to know you're moving forward. The last lesson was the hardest one for me to accept. For a long time, I didn't fully understand the relationship between training stimulus and recovery. And what I mean by that is this. Your muscles don't grow in the gym, they grow outside of it. And once you start prioritizing your sleep, your nutrition, and your recovery, you'll start to see real growth happen. And recovery doesn't look the same for everyone. Some people can handle 5, 6, or even 7 consecutive days of training and still progress, while others grow better with far fewer days in the gym and more rest in between. This largely has to do with your training experience and individual recovery capacity. The longer you've been training, the more volume you can typically handle. But most people never stop to figure out what their body needs. They just copy what someone else is doing and then wonder why they're not recovering properly. Are your lifts still going up? How's your overall energy and motivation? Are your muscles constantly sore? These are the types of questions you should be asking yourself before blindly throwing more volume at your training program. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is ease off because it can feel like you're being lazy or like you're losing progress. But for a lot of people, finding that balance means pulling back instead of always adding more. The key is figuring out whether you're undertraining or under recovering, because the fix for each one is completely opposite. And no one online can tell you which one it is. You have to figure that out by being honest with yourself about your training effort and by listening to your body. That's what 25 years of training has taught me. Play the long game, because nothing will work if you're not showing up consistently. Prioritize your health, because it's the foundation everything else is built on. Give your body the right signal, because consistency alone isn't enough. And find the correct balance between stimulus and recovery, because that's when all the hard work you've done in the gym actually turns into results. I hope this simplified things for you a bit and saves you some time and headaches. Subscribe if you want more, and I'll catch you in the next one.